Golic, Mike Golic Jr., Mike Golic Sr. here with you guys for hour number 2 on the show. Plenty of great stuff coming up, especially on the college football front. I feel bad this time of year. We spend so much time talking about the college football playoff, so much time arguing about data and spreadsheets and eye tests. We kind of forget to zoom in on the game a little bit. So we're going to do that here for the next hour. Haynes King, Georgia Tech quarterback, going to join us, talk about their pursuit of the ACC title in just a few minutes. And Jim Mora Jr., the head coach of the UConn Huskies, with 8 wins already on the season, looking for 9 in back-to-back seasons for the first time in school history, all part of hour number 2 here. But first things first, let's get you caught up on some of the other moving and shaking in the sport with our 3-point stance here today. And let's start off, Vive la France. The Saints apparently targeting a game in Paris as soon as 2026. The NFL stadium's officials in Paris reportedly working to finalize a deal, and will likely be an official announcement over the next several weeks. Remember, the NFL divvied up the international rights amongst its teams. The Saints claim France and Monaco as 2 of their sites. Wow. Great spots for a little bit of, I say good work if you can get it for the folks in New Orleans. So the Eiffel Tower coming to a Saints game near you. Rookie quarterback Jackson Dart returning to a field near the Giants facility. He missed last week's game, suffering the concussion against the Packers. Today was a full participant, though in non-contact capacity. Aren't quarterbacks always. But keep in mind, Giants quarterback, interim head coach Mike Kafka said as soon as the doctors clear him to play, he'll resume his starting role, as he is still currently in that concussion protocol. And last but not least, Virginia Tech athletic director Whit Babcock and company took to finally announcing the hiring of James Franklin as the Hokies' new head coach. The former Penn State and Vanderbilt head coach had his official press conference today, addressing the crowds and taking time to talk about his former defensive coordinator and former Virginia Tech head coach Brent Pry at the beginning.
I'd like to acknowledge Brent Pry. Sorry. Yeah. I always say I'm not going to get emotional, and then I get emotional. So, Brent Pry's a good friend. The players here at Virginia Tech are going to find out I'm a player's coach. That's what it's all about for me. That's what it always will be. Just to be very clear, though, just because I'm a player's coach doesn't mean that there won't be discipline and accountability. I'm an old school guy. I'm gonna coach you hard, but I'm also gonna love you hard as well. When you do something well, there's gonna be nobody that's gonna celebrate and show more appreciation than me, but there also will be accountability in our program every step of the way. I believe that young people have a chance to achieve their goals and their expectations, both individually and collectively, when they know how much you truly care about them. Young people want to be coached. I think there is a myth out there. I think there's a concern out there in today's major college football that you can't coach these guys. I don't think that's true. They're going to be coached hard, they're going to be developed hard, but they're going to be loved and cared for as well.
Boy, I tell you, Brent Pry was right there. And he just went straight on past it in that moment. It was so close. Coach is going to have plenty of time in front of the microphone there as Virginia Tech fans hope he's around for a good long time and is successful in a way they've really struggled to be consistently since the Frank Beamer years, which I heard James Franklin called Frank Beamer and actually asked basically for the program's hand in marriage before going into this. So how successful do you think this union can be?
Well, listen, it's a running team now. Their quarterback leads with 9 touchdowns and leads in carries as well. There's 9 different receivers have double-digit catches. The most is 26. They only have 18 sacks, only 6 takeaways. So there's a lot of work to do on this 3-7 team. Depends on how they divvy up the money, that $20 million, right, that they can use on their athletics. How much goes to football? We think usually 13 to 15 mil. How you get people, how NIL deals are going to work in that area or for players. It's going to be what kind of players he can pull in. Normally when you see coaches switch teams, you see an influx of portal players. And James Franklin has a good rep. Now, he also has a rep of not winning the big games, which will follow him. But, he coached big time, obviously, at Penn State. So let's see what kind of players he can attract.
Yeah, that's going to be the key to all of this, as we know. But it sounds like Penn State and Nebraska, they're ready to kind of overhaul the way they run the operation around that program and all the ways that we know your front office structure, what modern college football demands of this program. And James Franklin, you heard more in the press conference saying, does it walk? Does it smell? Does it breathe like a big time college football program at this point? So they're going to come in and do exactly what we talked about the other day with James Franklin. Try and help raise the floor of this program again. Try and at least get it moving like this. And I never played for James Franklin, so I can't speak to the experience there. But Brent Pry coming over before as the defensive coordinator for James Franklin at Penn State that took that job as Virginia Tech, a coordinator coming into that head coaching role versus someone like James Franklin. When I was at Notre Dame and Brian Kelly came in and took over as the head coach in 2010, he came after being the head coach at Cincinnati, after being the head coach at Central Michigan. He knew how to operate in that role. He wasn't learning for the first time what he was like as a head coach, knew where he wanted things, knew what our schedule was going to look like, knew little things like what our locker room setup was going to look like, and all those little attention to detail items that end up being the little things that create big habits around a program. So I do think, as simple as it sounds, having someone come in like James Franklin, who's not only done it, but done it at a high level at multiple stops now, knowing how to be a head coach, is going to go a long way in fast tracking some of that, along with the influx of talent you're going to need.
Yeah, there's not going to be a lot of feeling out period because he's been a head coach. It's going to be his way. Yeah. He's going to institute his ways of doing things, and the players are going to follow suit. Some will like it, some won't. Some will transfer, some won't. Others will want to transfer in. That's where we are in college. It's about opportunity to play. It's about system that you're going to play. I don't think it'll be a quarterback running and having the most carries. I don't think that's the system James Franklin wants. So there's a lot of things that go into it, and then you have to fit the pieces of puzzle together, and it may take a while. It probably doesn't take as long as it used to because of the influx of portal players, but then you have to get the more portal players you get, the more you have to get them to play together.
Certainly a tall task as he gets set to go and try and compete again, Virginia Tech in the ACC. We got someone right now who's trying to win the ACC, though, this year. So let's get to our next guest. Georgia Tech quarterback and Heisman hopeful Haynes King, kind enough to join us here now. Haynes, good to see you again, man. Thanks for coming back and spending some time with us. How you doing?
Doing pretty good. Thank you for having me again.
Thanks.
Absolutely. Are you getting used to hearing Heisman candidate, Heisman contender associated with your name? I know your head coach, Brent Key, had some great things to say about you in that regard. And they've got the website now up, HaynesForHeisman.com. So what's it feel like to be in the center of all this as someone who really seems like such a team-first guy the way we know you to be?
I mean, it feels great just being in that position and being talked about and having that opportunity. But, I honestly haven't heard a whole lot about it. I've been too focused on the present and whatever the next game is.
Yeah, well, I mean, listen, sometimes it only comes around once. It'd be tough not to enjoy, but the more successful your team is, the better chance that you have. So, again, you have Pitt coming up. What are your thoughts on this tough Pitt team?
Obviously they're a really good team, offense and defense. They score a lot of points offensively, and they create a lot of havoc defensively. We're definitely going to have our hands full, but we're going to give it our best shot. And I feel like we've been preparing really good and practicing really good at a high level all week. So it's going to be a fun night, and even on senior night, it's going to be a really fun and exciting game.
Yeah, a lot of emotions that come along with senior night, but when you guys have as much to look forward to as you do, and you're one of the teams, the ACC championship scenarios, complicated for a lot of people, simple for you guys, win this weekend, and you can punch your ticket to Charlotte. How much has Brent Key talked about winning that ACC title as a goal for you guys?
I mean, that was our goal dating back to January, coming back when we get everybody back in here and start, winter workouts. That was our goal, first the ACC championship and then the national championship, and to be in this spot and to have this opportunity, I feel like everybody's pretty ready and excited to what's to come.
So, I mean, you're in your third year at Georgia Tech. You have the most carries that you've had in a year, the most yards that you've had in a year, the most rushing touchdowns you've had in a year, and still hope to play a few more games. How's the body holding up?
The body's actually holding up pretty good. You know, the athletic training staff, they've done a really good job of keeping me on the field and you know, week to week and throughout the week, just, you know, getting my body right. And I mean, it's long, hard hours, but you know, it's what I have to do to, you know, keep my body at a healthy position and just, you know, keep being able to play.
You've certainly done just that, averaging 340.7 yards per game so far for this Georgia Tech offense, and been the engine that's made it go. For you guys, there's been so much talk now, so much politicking around the college football playoff. We've seen a groundswell of support for Miami in the ACC. Do you guys feel like you're almost flying under the radar at this point? Do you feel like you're getting enough credit for the season you've had?
Uh, I mean, I don't know too much honestly about all the credit stuff. But you know, I guess you'd say, you know, at times we don't really get the credit that I feel like we deserve. But at the end of the day, you know, if we keep handling our business, keep winning, and you know, executing at a high level, and everything's gonna handle itself, and eventually they are gonna have to give us our credit. Right now we still have to, you know, be in the present and keep working.
Along with those lines, how do you guys 18 to 22-year-olds in a locker room, how do you keep that positive attitude and not be on social media like most kids your age are?
Really just, you know, being having all these different types of relationships and being honest, you know, being aware of what's going on and what you have to do to keep sustaining that. And I feel like even the coaches do a really good job of having that consistent message, and the seniors do a really good job of continuing that message for the younger guys.
Brent Key, you mentioned your coach a couple of times, a guy who loves this school so much, but whose names come up at times in these coaching carousel conversations. What's he said to you guys about his future at Georgia Tech and his commitment to your team?
I mean, I feel like everybody in this building knows that this is a spot that he wants to be, and he's committed here. Uh, and you know, this is also the place to be and to come for all the future, you know, players.
No question about that. I think his exact words were, cut me open and see what colors I bleed. So leaving nothing to the imagination has Brent Key, and certainly leaving nothing to chance. You and guys in this team handling your business all season long. I know it was a close high wire act with Boston College, but should be an exciting one this weekend. Haynes, best of luck against Pitt this weekend. Best of luck going forward. Again, you guys can check out the website, HaynesForHeisman.com. All the great information on what everyone around the country is saying about one of the best quarterbacks that we've got in the game. Thanks, brother. We appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thanks.
Awesome stuff. It really is an offense that asks so much of him. Like, your point about how the body's doing is vital, because that offense that really has to shoulder a lot of the load. The defense has had some issues recently in that Boston College game that have kind of shined a light on, hey, this group's got a hum, but at the same time, they are built to go and slay giants. We saw them give Georgia hell last year, and I know he's worried about punching the ticket to the ACC championship, but I think you look, they've got the potential for an upset win against a Georgia team that's red hot nationally right now, waiting for them at the end of the year too.
Yeah, they do. But obviously getting in the door of the ACC championship by beating Pitt is the number one goal, right? Certainly they'll compete against Georgia, but that doesn't have a bearing on the conference championship. And that's what they're going for, that they can control their own destiny. Because what are they, 16th, I believe, in the rankings? So they're not even in the top 12 or really the top 10, because 11 and 12 are going to get knocked out. So they absolutely have to win the ACC to get in, and they can control that. And that's all you ask for as a player.
No, and I do think, like, also for that, the way it lines up, having the Pitt game come before that rivalry game against Georgia at the end of the year, for the emotional part of it, it's, you know, easy in normal circumstances to say, oh, this could be a trap game because you're looking ahead. But when you've got the kind of things on the line in the conference you do in this game, all focus going to be on a Pitt team that we know, regardless of what we saw on the field against Notre Dame, is still a team that's been one of the better run defenses in college football this season going into that. And they'll get a major test of those pipes against Georgia Tech too. But then if you're Georgia Tech, hey, if you go out and handle business, you punch your ticket to Charlotte, and now you have the opportunity to then focus all that energy on George at the end of the year. I'm just saying that spread option stuff with the quarterback involved, that is dangerous, dangerous work for opposing defenses, even a defense as stingy traditionally as the Dogs. So I like that. And you know what? I like the fact that the school is leaning into the Heisman campaign for a guy that clearly is about ball, is about the team. These schools are taking this, I think, seriously to try and get their guys in the mix.
Well, as I said, Georgia Tech especially does not get a lot of Heisman candidates. So when you get one, he's certainly somewhat of a long shot, but his name is still there. You should pump it. I mean, you absolutely should pump him up, and I'm glad they are.
No, they certainly are. And he's a guy who has plenty of opportunities for those Heisman moments coming up in the next couple of weekends here as we go further and further towards November and December football. As we go further into the week here, coming up next, it's time. We can't put it off any longer. It's the NFL Power Rankings here on Golic and Golic.